Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Oh, Lord. What happened now? Listen, I ain't getting no energy, man. Every Tuesday, it's getting just lighter and lighter. Why is that?
Tired.
I thought you were supposed to be enthused. Thanksgiving is coming. Christmas is coming. I mean, fun time is about to begin. You've been locked down for 3 years.
Soon as we finish.
Okay.
So I look like I can't finish because I can't even get to take my exam.
Why?
God, the place they sent me, the lady wasn't feeling well, so they had to postpone again.
Oh, God. So when you taking it?
Saturday coming.
Okay. All right. Ah. Well, I guess those who are here may be happy or sad to know that I haven't marked the multiple choices yet, but I have marked the essays. And so if you email me individually, I'll be able to give you your grade. Who's on? Tabisha, let me see if I can find your paper first. Without giving huh?
You could send me my grade, please. I say you could send me my grade, please.
Yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow sometime during the day because I just have to do your multiple choice. You want any feedback?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
I want feedback. I listening.
Okay. Where's this exam? Okay. 1, 3, 4, 5. So each question was worth 20 points, right? So your first question in part A, you got 16. In part B, you answered question number 2 and you got 15. Because I have a question and I'm asking you why.
Okay.
Based upon what you
Sound
said.
good to me.
Huh?
I said it sound good to me.
Number 3, your third question, you got 17. You made good application of your cases, I see. Now, then you begin to make me sad when you answered question number 4.
Mhm.
Remember that had a part A and a part B?
Yeah.
Remember, I did say there's a question on section 77, and you wrote me 4 lines saying absolutely nothing.
Honestly, I can remember that.
Okay. So on question 4, you only got 11. So let me see what you get on your multiple choice. And I marked later, and then I'll send you your grade. So let me put here, send, like since you were in class, send grade. Okay, so you didn't do too bad. That wasn't bad, except for number 4 where you fell down. Let's see, Capron. Let me see if I have yours here handy. No. Oh, Sydney, I have yours next. Want me to do you?
Yes, mom. I okay.
No, let me see. Don't see when I mark, I don't look at names. I just turn to the first question and I mark. I only know the names when it's time for me to add up the grades.
Okay, you could go ahead.
Okay, so your first question in part A, you got 14. The second part of part A, where it gives you a different scenario and asks you if your answer would be the same, you strayed from your first point. You look like you went the opposite way. Opposite. I don't know why. You remember what you wrote?
If this the question about the jewelry,
No, tuition.
oh. I vaguely remember.
Yeah,
I think I did go.
you
Oh,
went contrary. The
yeah.
first part, you so for this question you got 14, because for the last part you went all you going on a different direction.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Let's see.
So- Huh? I'm wondering. I was going to ask you all if how long it took for you to answer this exam.
You mean apart from the parts where I couldn't answer, it took like 2 hours.
Mm,
I mean, that's after like trying to remember.
oh, you got to try to remember better.
Yeah.
Okay, so part B, your question number 2. You didn't do that one well at all. You going down a different road. You that question can't get Ellen too many clues, you see? That was the jewelry question. How you get talking about enhanced due diligence? Don't answer me. I know how you get there.
I say that?
Yes,
Gee,
you start talking about enhanced due diligence. I say, well, hold on.
I must be stressed out. I don't know.
I know. And then remember now, without giving Ellen any clues, the whole topic of that question, remember, had its own terminologies. Some students put the terminology in and some like you didn't. Because it has its own rules. If you go in your notes, flipping your notes now to that section. You remember what number 2 was about, right?
I do.
Okay. So if you look at that section, you'll see what the law says, the terminology and what is expected. And one thing I want to emphasize for everybody, when you talk about police, referring a matter to the police, remember, have to think about confidentiality and the 4 rules of exceptions. It has to fall into the rules. You can't call them for anything.
That's fine.
Okay. Now, your number 4, that had an A and a B. I don't know what happened. You did the same thing on B. You all forgot all about it. Confidentiality. So in total, you got 15 on that one. And then your number 5. I don't know why some people chose number 5 if they couldn't answer them. Why you chose 5?
Yeah, I was leveraging what I remember.
Oh, well, you got 9 on that.
Okay.
So I just have to do your multiple choice now. So I'll send you your email. You put your send on yours.
Okay.
So, and okay, I mean, Sydney, I said it's going to you next, right? Let's see, Sydney. Sydney. Hold on, Sydney, I get felony paper before yours. That means it's further down. Okay, Felonique,
Yes,
part A. Let's see where this stops. Your part A, your question that you selected, you got 19 out of 20.
oh wow.
Part B, your number 1, you got 8.
Jeez.
Number 2, you got 15.
Mm.
You did number 5, like the others, you got 10.
Jeez.
Now, let me see if I made my comments on the side. Well, number 5, you just didn't answer them, right? If I go to your number 1, and number 1, this part B, number 1 is a question that everybody should have been able to answer. I mean, the scenario is long enough. And there's so much that you all could discuss. But it's obvious that even the sections we discussed in this act, no one remembered it. And in banking, that act that's in this question is important because there's an obligation on the bank. You remember now? You remember this question? The first one in part B,
No, ma'am.
when the man wanted the information.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Right. So your first paragraph, you repeated the question. Then you gave you. And then for 20 points, you gave me 5 sentences, not 5 sentences. You gave me 5 lines and 2 sentences. Please do not do that in the final.
Mm.
Don't do that, because in the final, there is no makeup. That's it. And I surely know you don't want to do a makeup final exam, because then you wouldn't know where the questions are coming from.
Right.
Remember what I told you all, whenever you're going in an exam and look at the topics. And what did I tell you to do? Under each topic, either learn the legislation that goes with it or the cases that go with it. And with each case, you write a trigger word. And the first thing you do when they say, you may now begin, before you even turn over that paper, you write down what you remember. So that when you turn over the paper and you select your questions, you select them based upon your notes that you wrote down, what you actually remember, rather than doing it the opposite way, because then your mind goes blank. I don't want y'all to do this in the final exam. Hold on. I see why I couldn't find Sydney paper, because I have it on a different file. Hold on, let me see. I don't have Sydney paper. Sydney, where your paper?
Sound like I'm getting a free grade then.
Don't even try that. I don't see a paper here for you. No, I don't.
And you just give me my grades, Miss Archer?
I give it to you already, eh?
Yeah, you give me some.
Making sure I putting it on the side.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that I'm going to send. Yeah. So who did I miss? Who's Renzo?
Lorenzo.
Okay, Renzo, let me see. Lorenzo?
Yes, ma'am.
Lorenzo Taylor?
Yes.
Okay, Lorenzo Taylor. Part A, your first question, you got 14. Again, when you did the second scenario, It didn't coincide with what you said in the first part. It contradicted it. Part B, your first question was number 2. You got 15 out of 20. And you use language like air, H-E-I-R. How did I get in this? Going astray. Number 4, part A and part B. You got 10. Your part B, like the others, you only wrote, let me see, you gave me 1 sentence, 2 sentences on 4B. And then on 5, without all the multiple sections, you got 7. Some of those were just not right. And then I'll have to do your multiple choice. So overall, that's some of the things that I saw. I don't understand why you would select a question that you're not familiar with. And I told you confidentiality was coming. And I also told you all which other legislation goes with Section 77. So you knew you had to study that. And for the pure contract question, some people were able to identify what the question was about, and some didn't. I can't say what it is. I can tell you all after Ellen takes her exam. I'm waiting on her paper. So once I add it up, if you all are willing, I'll send you all a supplemental question. It won't be on contract law. It will be a banking law question. Okay? If you wish. I think last week you all said it's okay.
Say it again, Ms. Archer. I didn't. You said if we ain't do too good, you can give us the next question.
I'll send you all another banking question, a take-home question, and
Okay.
I'll tell you when to send it back.
Okay.
If you wish, I said.
And if I do too good, I can need that.
Okay, I see Robert just joined. Robert, I just saw his paper a few minutes ago. Yes. Robert Allen hasn't taken the exam, so I can't give you too much specifics. Your first question of the part A, you got 15. Part B, your first question, you got another 15. Your other question, when you did that one with all of the parts, your question number 5, you got 16. And your question number 1, I was not sure what you were trying to say. At all. And then I have to mark your multiple choice.
Wow, so question number 1, I ain't get no points.
Nope, none.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know where you was going with this.
And Mr. Archer, I don't even know what I put myself. Honestly, I've been what? A week
can-
or two?
Uh-huh.
I
I-
don't remember.
I
I
can
remember what I put on that.
Okay, let me just see if I could give you a clue of what you wrote. You wrote this: an oral agreement is not a documentation that can provide proof of same to court, which makes oral agreement invalid. What does that mean?
It was an agreement based on it wasn't any written, it wasn't a written agreement. It was just something that they agree on verbally.
And why an oral agreement is invalid? It is.
So how you could take an oral agreement to court without proof?
What you mean?
Whereas-
There's always oral agreement. A says A, B says B, and then the judge makes a decision based on what sounds logical and more plausible. That's what given evidence is all about, you know.
Exactly, but if I say something and someone else says something, where the evidence is to show proof that I said it.
No, it's not what you say. It's what I'm trying to say is more than what you say. It's what you say, how
And then
you
what is pretended.
everything else, everything that's around it. So at the end, when you finish giving your story or your evidence versus my evidence, which one makes sense?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Which sense? I can't go much into this one because Ellen has to take this. I don't need Ellen to start sweating now.
I think it's too late for that.
You're right. I've been sweating.
Ellen, please. Then.
So I have to take a replacement question for number one then.
Yes, you do. You may need to take 2 questions.
That's fine. I can do that.
Yeah, I'll see because I have to mark the multiple choice and see what you get. And based upon what you get, we'll go from there. So the points that I give is whatever, who has the highest grade minus that from 100. So this is what makes it difficult. So say if the highest grade is 80, that means the most points that you can get is 20. If the highest grade is 70, then the most points that anybody could get is 30 points added on to their exam. Sounds fair?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Okay. That's how it's done. Who just came on? Nadia?
So who in your
Yes, ma'am. Good
Ray-
night.
Ray be on?
I don't know. I haven't done the multiple choice yet.
So what's the highest score thus far?
I don't know.
Because I need to know if I need to
What?
get I need to know if I need to get my rag, my crying rag.
Hi. Where's my I still have to do the multiple choice. Who's the person who I said had the highest so far? What's the name?
Oh, Ruma?
Rita died so far.
Huh?
I think Charlton.
Who gets? Let me see.
So
Without-
I don't remember. What is the highest you gotta get from them questions? You got the highest score was what exactly? I can't even remember.
Each one is marked out of 20.
Oh, okay. Cause I hearing this 50 and I saying Lord of the 30.
I know. Okay, that person got 52. That's without the multiple choice. This person here got. $45. This person here got.
Question number to multiple choice word again.
20 points, 48.
And basically, this was out of 100, correct? This was out of 100?
Yes.
Oh, my chest. Okay.
What happened to your chest? It growing?
It tightening up. It tightening up.
Oh, please. Why is your chest tightening up?
Because my belly breaking down too. I something here
Oh.
right here. This was 100. Wow.
No, I didn't finish yours. So let's see this other person. This person got that. Plus that. So the highest so far is 52 without the multiple choice. This person got 59. And this one,
This is the highest so far.
yeah, 14, 15, 10, and 7. This person got 46. This one, 15. 10, and 0, 46. Yeah, so let's see what we come up with. This person is 17, 10, 14, 40. Those numbers? 41. Okay. So we'll see. Stop stressing. At least you have the chance to do a makeup question, right?
But if the highest is 59 and they get what? That's to say they get 18 right.
Meaning the multiple,
Yeah.
that's 77. So that,
They can get 23 points added on.
yeah.
So 45 plus 23. Jesus. Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. We'll see.
You'll see how it goes. Okay, so you know when you answering the question that has a part A and part B, it's 10 points each. So there's no way you could give me 2 sentences for part. So when I do the review for the final exam, what you need to do is to take your notes and look at those subject areas. And for each subject area that you are going, see, the thing about it is when I give you the review and I say, these are the questions, you knew 2 contract questions were coming. So when it came to the banking questions, I gave you all the topics. So how you should have studied was read over your notes. And then you should have said, if I have a question on confidentiality, what do I need to know? You remember the section. If you didn't remember the section, you remember what it's called. And you knew that there were 4 exceptions. And we went through every section of that confidentiality. And if you had studied just that section, you could have gotten 10 full points. I don't expect you to go from subsection 1 all the way down to 10 or 15, but the essence of what it is. So you know for the final exam, you can't skim to get the points. And you have to understand what you're writing about, because you can't turn to the left and then turn to the right and then turn to the center and then turn to the left. Because law don't work that way. So your decisions have to be precise and concise. Can't go all over the place. And if in your answer, you put in your answer your employer's policy. Remember, we discussed that before. I said you can answer if you're going to use your company's policy. You have to state that policy. And then when you go to analyze the scenario based on your company's policy, it has to follow what the policy is saying that you should do. You can't go contrary. And then you could support that with either the duty of the bank or the duty of the customer or the right of the bank or the right of the customer. Banking law isn't hard, you know, but it's just certain things you have to realize are the principles or what we call a hallmark of banking. Certain things don't change. And remember, I told you all, those rights and those duties are things that you have to know by heart. And if you were to sit down and take your contract that you give the clients, you can sit down and you could map those rights and duties out. And what is not written is a part of common law, which means it just arises by principle of the business that you're into. And then always remember, banking law is based on contract law. So everything is about offer, acceptance, capacity, consideration, looking at validity, all of that. And then you put the banking law principles on top of it. It's not that hard. You just have to understand the concept. So when I give you all this the take home questions to do, you don't have to type it if you don't want to. You could actually write it. Because I think if you write it by hand and then you could scan it to me, it'll make it easier for you for the exam rather than typing it. And I want you to write it out and think about it logically. Any questions? Anybody with questions? Y'all going very quiet. No? Yes? Ellen, you still scared?
No, ain't no questions.
That sounds, now you sound much better. Now chest not hurting anymore.
Yeah, I had some water.
Oh, very good. All right.
Very good.
Okay, it's not like I should send you all this question tonight. What you think?
Okay, so that question that you give us now, the take home, that would be added to our midterm grade.
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am. You could send that.
Yeah, I'm thinking I probably send you all 2 questions. I'm gonna send you all 2. I'll do it right after. Let me see what time is it. 7:05. What time you all normally go to bed? 12?
Oh, I
No,
almost
my
had
time
me
alarm
call
goes off
during
at
the
10
bed.
p.m.
I almost had me just call during the bed. I'm so tired.
Seriously.
They would time me to go to bed. I take a nap and wake up 4 in the morning. I don't know.
Okay. Anybody else who goes to bed at 12?
Oh, he say 12.
That's a good time.
Not tonight. I go into bed early. I had a rough day.
As soon as you say see you all
10
later,
o'clock
good
is my
night,
bedtime.
that's my bedtime.
Me myself, I go into bed early.
Oh, what is
This
wrong?
week,
So,
this week been long and strong. This week, yeah, me this week. I've been trained for Monday, and that's the beginning of the week.
so all this is telling me is this, is that if I send this tonight, nobody's going to look at it. Correct?
I mean, because of the dynamics of our grade, I don't see why I wouldn't. I would look at it for sure. I would maybe proofread it and then I'd dream about it. But in terms of actually, in terms of actually tackling that tonight, I don't want to tackle that in the sense of where
No.
I have to look at it in the morning and trying to figure out what the hell I just write last night. So
Okay.
yeah, I rather look at it when I fully able to answer it.
Okay, now let me tell you what I will do. I don't like to fail students unless they're lazy. And you all have been putting in the time. You come to class, you try. If you sit down and you write this and you send it before the deadline, and you say you are finished, and you send me nonsense, I will send it back. Is that a deal?
That sounds fair. That sounds really fair.
You
Agree.
can't. If I
You
say the
can't,
paper,
you can't beat that. You can't beat that
No.
with a stick. I will be sending one every day, sound like.
if I say the deadline is Friday 5 o'clock or Friday, I could say 12 or 1 o'clock. If I say Friday 1 o'clock, I want it, and you send it to me 1 o'clock and it's not right, too bad for you. But if
Yeah,
you
I mean, that sounds fair. I could work with that.
okay,
That's
so
really, really fair, honestly.
yeah, because like I say, when it comes to the final exam, I can't help you. And it's the same with the paper. If you finish your paper before time and you're going to submit it, I will look at it. If it is rubbish, I'm going to send you an email back and say, please try again. But if you send it to me on the day of the final exam, that is it. Everybody agree? Okay, so now let's see when you're sending me back the supplemental question. What sounds like a good day? Everybody waking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I could do it 2 ways. I could give it to you tonight and you send it back to me Friday 1, or I send it to you on Friday and you give it back to me on Sunday by midnight.
But if you say, all right, so today is what, Wednesday? Today is Tuesday.
Hmm.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3
Yeah,
days.
more time.
Friday.
But I know y'all work.
Saturday. So why we can't submit it to you Monday instead, so we could have the same time frame? If we send it to us Friday, why we can't submit it? Why our deadline of submission can't be Monday?
No, because I wanted to mark it before Tuesday, but I don't have to.
Yeah, because Friday is actually our last day to work, and then we have the full Saturday. And you could fly that back to us if it's rubbish. And Sunday.
I prefer if you for Sunday, because then Tuesday I want my final grade for my term.
No,
That's
but
a
guess
bit
what?
long.
But guess what? If you send it in, if I send it Friday, right?
Mm.
And if you finish it on Sunday and you don't, and you could just put on it, this is my final attempt, which means that you
Yeah.
don't response back. I will mark it and add it to your grade.
Okay then.
Well, you know, I ain't gonna never put that on mine. Whatever you need to send back, let me know.
So we could put the deadline as Monday at 3,
Okay.
Monday at 3 p.m. And then I will send it to you all on Friday on 7 p.m.
It's Friday, 7 p.m. Okay.
Mhm.
Mr.
Okay.
Shaw,
Yes.
I prefer to get mine tonight. My
You on
brain not
vacation,
thinking
eh?
on the weekend.
Okay. So Nadia, you want yours tonight?
Yes, ma'am, I prefer mine tonight and I submit it by Friday.
Okay.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
could send mine. You could send mine tonight too, please.
Okay. That's
I
not
prefer that as well.
Sound
said-
like that's the consensus. I want mine tonight too.
Sydney.
And she was say, I want to do this tonight then at this point.
So everybody,
I can get mine tonight.
Hi, Miss Archer. This is Shanique just logging on. I missed the conversation. I know what you're talking about.
we're talking about the makeup questions for the midterm exam.
She gotta know shit what her score is first to know if she want makeup.
You already called off the grades?
No,
Good night, by the way.
please don't call it on this.
So I
Sorry,
didn't know
Shanique.
all grade. I was just letting them know what they got on each question.
Yeah, like each question,
One.
which point you got.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh no, she could take that. Don't worry about that. Shonique, you can take that too. So send it tonight and you'll send it to me Friday by 3.
Jesus.
No? What
By
time on
seven.
Friday night?
By 7.
I ain't gonna lie, I still want to do the weekend, honestly. I ain't even gonna pretend to do what they trying to do. I think I can do mine on the weekend.
I could take mine on, yeah, for Friday and submit by Monday.
Yeah, I
So-
can't
Yeah,
do that.
because we too busy with work and stuff. I'll be too busy.
Yeah. I will go have to put on a whole 6 slip to get this done.
So Robert and Shanique is for,
Me too. Ty. Ty Janae.
okay.
Me too for the weekend.
Yeah,
Ellen?
I wouldn't
Yes,
even
ma'am.
fool with no work day. I would look like everyone dishcloth, ring right out. I can't do that.
Okay, so I'll send it. Well, okay, Ellen, you will get yours on Saturday after you send me an email, confirm that you took the test.
Okay.
Once you confirm, you can get yours. Okay, after exam. So that'd be Ty, Shanique, and Robert will get theirs on Friday. And they'll send it Monday night,
Okay.
Monday at 7. You say it's Monday at 7. That sounds good, right?
Yes, mom.
Okay. And everybody else is tonight. Okay. And our final exam is fast approaching. All right, let's talk about customer due diligence now. The question will always be, what will an exam question look like for customer due diligence? Am I correct? You'd want to know, how would I approach it? What could it be about? And the key thing about customer due diligence is really knowing the stages of money laundering, and also how can you have that knowledge, reasonable knowledge, that someone is actually committing an offense as per the Bahamian legislation. So someone tell me in your own words, what are the stages of money laundering without looking in the book? Because you all do this every year as a part of your annual training. What are the stages of money laundering? Anybody?
Layering, integration, and that's all I remember.
Well, you got to think about it again in terms of steps. What's the first step in money laundering?
The cash.
And what is that? P. L.
Placement.
Placement.
Right.
And
So if you listen to today on one of the conspiracy theorists in the United States, they said that money was placed in the entity that has recently filed for bankruptcy.
FTX.
Yeah, I ain't calling no names. And
Well, I wanted to talk with that.
well,
That's interesting.
yes, because it says that money were placed in there. The monies came out from there and were paid into, transfer to a certain country. That country in turn paid a political party in the United States. And then that party in turn sent weapons to that country.
It that deep?
Yes, it's that deep.
Yeah.
The nose ain't covering all of that. They only study the surface.
And they
Who was
say,
Who was
and-
watching the gate?
yes.
That's what I want to know.
You see, the thing about money laundering is this. Until something triggers someone to look at something, it just passes everybody. Because remember now, when you place money in an institution, these persons are sometimes able to provide evidence that the funds are legitimate. Because remember now, once you're doing something illegal, you have to mix legitimate with illegitimate, because that's the only way you're going to get it to pass through. Now, those of you who watch a lot of documentaries, you will realize that there are a lot of persons that go around and they create a persona that they have a lot of money. You've seen that, right? People create an image of who they are. They drop names where they go. And they give you the illusion that they're worth a lot of money. So the question that was asked today on this talk show, international talk show, was, 1, who are the parents? 3, 2, where did the money come from? Who moved the money? How did this person get to such a stature where everyone in the world is investing in this company? And everything comes to a persona. So it's just like in the bank. If you know Mr. X is a very important person, people have told you this person owns this, this, and this. Do you question that? Are you permitted to question that? So this whole thing about the stages of money laundering is very easy to do. Unless you as a banker or you as a trader begin to question certain things. And remember, for money laundering, you don't need the 3 stages to commit an offense. It could be any one of the stages. Now in the Bahamas, we have framed our laws whereby we say it is an offense if you've committed one of the identified risk offenses in the Bahamas. And these risk offenses were identified by the steering committee on money laundering. So this is where all of the regulators and the heads of government agencies and representatives from intermediary companies all completed a questionnaire to find out what are the risks of doing business in the Bahamas. And they said the risk from a money laundering perspective is corruption, cybercrime, human trafficking, money laundering, the financing of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, and terrorism or the financing of terrorism. Now, this committee has, over time, the right to go out, question again, and add more offenses to this list or remove offenses from this list. So you, as a banker, or as a trader, or as a relationship manager, when transactions come before you, you have to be asking yourself, is this transaction going through one of the stages of money laundering? Looking at the transaction, does it align with the purpose for which the account was opened? Is it going to a jurisdiction that is high risk? Is it going to a sanctioned individual or a sanctioned jurisdiction? Or is it going to a PEP? So all those things come to your mind. Does the transaction make sense? Is it following a normal pattern? Is it more than it usually is? If it is more, why? If the person normally sends money on the 10th, why are they coming on the 5th? Or why are they coming on the 20th? Questions should arise in your head. That's the only way you could detect that money laundering is going on, if you keep asking yourself, why? So the Proceeds of Crime Act says, you commit an offense of money laundering if you have knowledge or you reasonably suspect. And coming to that terminology of reasonableness is talking about when you start to put these, line your ducks up in a row, it has to make sense. So if you conceal, or you disguise, or you convert, or you transfer, or you remove the proceeds of crime, it is an offense. And remember, ignorance is no excuse for the law. It's also an offense if you partake in arranging the proceeds of crime. So that means that, let's say, if someone has illegal funds and they're trying to move it from the Bahamas to another jurisdiction, and you're the person who giving this client advice as to how they can move the money for the purpose for which they want it, then you, along with that person, will be charged for money laundering. So even if you're convincing them to enter into and you try to facilitate that crime, you'll be charged with money laundering. So it says whether you acquire, you use it, you possess it, it is a crime, as long as you have reasonable notice. Now, if you look at it now from the persons who are responsible, and that means everybody in an organization, you have a duty to disclose. So the act says that failing to disclose to the FIU or to a police officer that you know, or you suspect, or you ought to reasonably have known or suspected that a person is engaged in money laundering or trying to commit one of the offenses, whether that be human smuggling or cybercrime or corruption, you have a duty to disclose. So yes, it may turn out after investigation that it wasn't money laundering. But if you have that reasonableness, that doubt, then you file your unusual transaction and then give the basis why you think that it is money laundering, or you think it is the proceeds from human smuggling or from bribery or from corruption. The MLRO of the organization, the money laundering reporting officer, also has an obligation. And they have to be able to decipher based on an unusual transaction or just from getting alerts from the system, make a decision whether or not to file with the FIU. And when they file, they have to be able to tell the FIU what is the identified risk, what is the offense. And then make the disclosure by telling the FIU the story, how it happened, why it happened, and why they think it is suspicious. And of course, once a matter is being investigated, you cannot inform the client. And in some instances, you can't even tell sometimes co-workers because they may be involved. So on the basis of looking at money laundering, the way in which an organization protects itself is always making sure that they have updated customer due diligence. And the law requires you to identify your clients. And identifying your clients means that your information should not be stale dated. Whenever you have a trigger event, the bank should take that opportunity to update its information. And a trigger event means that a person may come for another product. The person may have come in to advise that they've changed employment. All of those things are trigger events. Now, enhanced due diligence is when the customer, based on their relationship with others or their transactions, exceed a certain threshold, means that you have to do more background checks. And the same thing is for a politically exposed person. Enhanced due diligence is also required because of their affiliation and because of their position in their country. So whenever you see someone who comes in, who is wealthy, who comes from a jurisdiction that is high risk or sanctioned, or they come from an industry that is high risk, or the transactions due diligence must be taken on those individual or those companies. So even if you have a company that is dealing with a government agency, you risk that company as high risk. Why? Because there is potential for bribery, corruption. So as a part of all of this money laundering, risk rating your client, knowing your client, the MLRO's duty is to make sure that the policies and procedures are being followed in the company. And yes, you would get the requirements for KYC, but also be mindful that as a banker, you must also do customer due diligence. And that customer due diligence is really looking at the risk that that client exposes the company to, monitoring it and trying to mitigate against that risk. So when you talk about money laundering, it's more practical than theory. If you work in compliance, then you're going to be doing theory, case analysis, and the law. But in the practical side as a banker, working in front office, you have to know the stages of money laundering, and you have to know what are the offenses. And then decide what is reasonable knowledge of each one of the offenses. So it's not found whereby you fail to disclose an offense that you should have based on reasonableness. So before we go tonight, let's talk about the topic all of you want to talk about, FTX. Ellen, you start.
I was wondering, with a company like FTX coming to the Bahamas, I thought, or I would feel like they wouldn't be regulated just like the banks. When I said that, I thought more emphasis, or they would be checked more than the bank because of the financial asset, the big monies passing through FTX and what they do. I thought that would have been a different thing. So I just thinking from this, I'm just watching now to see if, like how we say, the laws change as time goes by. When we find like when you find loopholes, they come back and they change some stuff. So I just want to see how the laws are going to change, and how what is going to happen as a result of this.
Okay, anybody else have comments?
Just to touch base on what Ellen said, FTX isn't really a physical, like, cash entity. They that's a crypto chain. So people are really buying the type of, I guess, cryptocurrency FTX, supplied. And that's where the downfall came from.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
I'm
physical
sure they
cash.
have compliance too,
Yes.
Yeah.
and they have their own compliance section also. I'm just wondering, like, okay, nobody saw this coming.
Well,
Like all of a sudden this just happened. I'm sure somebody knew something or saw something.
It's not as simple as it appears. Okay. One point you talk about was regulation, like banking. Securities business and banking business, two different businesses, two different regulators, different requirements for licensing. They're different. So you had an entrant into the securities market that fell outside of the Securities Act, which is the crypto business. So they crafted their own legislation to cover this business. Now, as a regulator, and even like a bank, you're supposed to think about risk.
Yeah.
You're supposed to think about what ifs. Whether these what ifs were questioned, responded to, don't know. But in my mind, when I heard about it, the what if came to my mind. That's the first thing. The second thing was this. You're talking about a new way of doing financial business. Number one, even though we drafted that legislation, passed that legislation, Bahamians were not trained.
I just want to say, were we equipped? Are we equipped? I don't think.
We're still not ready.
No.
I am of the view that if I am going to plant an orange tree and I want to have orchards of oranges, I cannot come and say, Ellen, plant a tree and expect to get oranges in 6 to 8 or 9 months. I can't tell Nadia, go to the next acre, you plant it. Someone has to train you how to do it. Someone has to tell you what insects to look out for. Someone has to tell you what bug spray you need to buy. They need to tell you when to plant, when to cut back the tree, when harvest is due, how long you have to pick it, how to package it. So we as a people were not prepared.
No.
We're not trained for this. So if you take these people, even though they may have been banking experts, they may have been traders, but not in the crypto world. So they all went from whatever was their previous employment into this crypto space where they were given these crash courses on computer. What do you think would happen? Anything could pass by the window, they wouldn't know what it is. They wouldn't know. So that's looking at it from a technical point of view. You don't have a workforce that is ready to go into that market.
No.
Then on the top of it now, we're going to switch this hat and look from an opposite way now. When you run a company, you cannot have the person that owns the company run every department.
You're right.
That don't work. Now if you take the hat and turn it around again, whenever you look at an organization, you don't look at just organization A. You look at an organization in its totality. That means you look at every subsidiary, every affiliate. Which jurisdictions are they in? What do they do? Who works there? Who runs it? Who funds it?
Mhm.
You have to get a holistic picture. Because at the end of the day, the reputation of your jurisdiction is at stake. So as you listen to the stories when they come out, the question then comes, did we do our homework?
No, I don't think so.
They had companies all around the world.
Hmm.
No one thought to think, okay, these people are putting money into all of these entities. Is there some kind of protection? Is there some kind of safety net that if I put in $1 million, at least I have guaranteed $100,000? If a company is trading, where is its customer base? Is it generating its own customer base? Or is it taking the customer base from the entity that we just licensed? You have to know how the companies interact with each other. And then you have to know the regulation for each jurisdiction. Are they comparable to ours? And you have to know how the money is flowing between each entity. And the last thing is, when you have a group of companies all interacting with each other, there has to be a home regulator. There has to be one regulator who is responsible for the whole thing. So when he walked in and told his staff, I F up, what does that mean? What does that mean for someone who is running an enterprise that size? Is that the kind of speech you expect to hear?
Nope. Can't be run by one person.
Someone who is supposed to be worth billions of dollars, who is trading billions of dollars. Is that the right speech you expect to hear? Now today they say he's tweeting.
I think they come to this country and take advantage of us. They realize.
Don't ask the question why. Why do you want to come here?
No, they don't ask that. They just say, oh, this is a good investment. Everybody just come.
No, but everything comes to our reputation. Every country is talking about our reputation.
Mm-hmm.
What went wrong? And so now they say the government is not speaking. Only the commission. You must wait on them. But when I looked in the newspaper, I saw more than the commission. More than the commission were in the photos. But that's the situation we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
So some persons, I think, the SEC has called it a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme means that you've gone out, you've collected people's money, you've taken those monies, you invest it in inverted commas, and then you take it back out
Mm.
and you use it for other purposes. And or it keeps going, you know, because when the first set need their money, then the people down the line, number 16, you could take their money and pay them. That's what a Ponzi scheme is all about.
But I'm understanding that this is not the first time he had a business that crashed.
Oh, I didn't hear that one.
Yep.
But if you've used the method before and it worked, why not do it again?
Okay. Okay.
Why not do it again?
But
So
all of the financial, the regulators, everybody, I really would like to hear at the end of it, what is going to happen?
well, it went into liquidation, so we'll have to see.
Mhm. What is going to happen and which agency is going to, because I don't think we equipped, just like you say, I don't think we equipped.
No. Mm-mm. And remember now, a lot of this money is based, just like we were saying earlier, this is just based on some token, based on transaction. And it's like, to me, it's not real money. It's not real money because it's based on people buying and selling and forecasting and then increasing the value. It keeps going up and up and up, but it's not real.
Right.
And then it comes the time when people want that money. That's when the problem comes now. So we'll see.
And they want their money, they coming right to the Bahamas for it.
Yes, they are.
They put it right in.
Yep.
Boy,
We're right there.
right in danger.
And so even if you look at other sectors who will now become involved in this, they now have to learn how this crypto works. Because how are you going to argue in court if you don't know how it works?
That's what I say, and I really want to see if they can charge anybody, how they can charge them, what they can charge them with.
Well, we'll have to see.
Boy,
We'll have to see. That's the big question. Because first you have to figure out what's the crime.
that's the big problem right there.
What's the crime? Then afterwards, how did it happen? Then figure out how you're going to pay these persons. Because you're going to go into liquidation, but is there real money? So we'll have to see. All right. So hopefully by next class, we may have learned some more. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Interesting, scary, everything.
Yes, but it's an international case that everybody is on it.
Mhm.
Everybody's talking about it. Yeah. So, all right then. Everybody could go and relax now. I'm going to send you the question. I think I know one so far. I have one in my head I can send. I'll just think of another one. So be ready. I'm just wondering if I should just send it to everybody. And then those who the Monday could just do it. So I could just send one email because it's the same question.
Okay, so I wouldn't get my own until Saturday.
Yeah, you wouldn't get yours, everybody else will get
Okay.
theirs.
Okay.
Okay, everybody agree? Oh, and
Yes,
every,
ma'am.
yeah, did everybody get the research question?
Yes.
No questions on that, right?
Got it.
It's
No,
very
I got
easy,
it.
very easy, right?
Straightforward. I mean,
See that? I try not to confuse you. All right, so next class, we'll talk about negotiable instruments. And remember, I said that we won't go into all of the laws relating to checks because we're getting ready to out of checks and focus more on maybe another 2-3 years. This whole chapter on negotiable instruments will be on cryptocurrency. You never know. All right. So
so,
everybody have a great evening, and I'll send you all the questions tonight,
so
except, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
good night.
Okay. Good
Night.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.